You know, it's amazing how guys say all the time, yo, I want to get more girls. Yo, I want to get in shape. Yo, I want to make more money. And then you ask them, okay, well, what are you doing to do that? And then they're like, the same stuff I've been doing for the past 3 years that hasn't led me to that. So you got to have a plan, guys. You got to really map it out and have a plan, have an idea. And, you know, the biggest thing to remember is if you've always done what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, thinking a different result. And I think a lot of people do that. I remember growing up, right, in high school, you know, you get those, right, in high school, you always have those people that you think are going to be, like, successful. Then you got some that are, like, losers and stuff like that. And the one thing I noticed with the kids that, you know, whether they were in a lower level, lower IQ class, or they just weren't, you know, they didn't really have aspirations like that, they would say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but then you would see what they're actually doing, and they're doing the same thing they've always done. They're still smoking weed. They're still playing video games all the time. They keep saying, I'm going to change, I'm going to make a change, but they never actually make a change. So, I mean, obviously you want to start small. It could be with just like cutting out one bad habit and then slowly building from there. But the reality is you're going to have to give up and stop doing the things you're currently doing if you want to change from what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people understand and appreciate that you must actually take real, hard, tangible steps towards changing if you want to actually get the change that you want.
You know what scared me? My first job at AT&T, taking phone calls.
Yep.
There's a call center with like at least 200 agents, right, from around the world.
Yep.
And people were there for 40 years plus. I was like, 40 years? And they said, yeah, I want to leave here one day.
Niggas was when it was singular.
Yeah, bro. and it's like,
them dudes used to work for Singular.
Yeah, they got different contracts like Xbox and AT&T, but that actual department, they were there for so long. And I was like, what's your plan to get out of here? Oh, yeah, well, you know, one day I'm going to get out this office job and have my own career. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
That's so true.
I'm like, awesome. When? Oh, you know, bro, soon. I just got to figure things out. I'm like, nigga, you been here 40 years. It's crazy to me. But that right there had me scared because I'm like, damn, if they're here this long saying all this shit, I got to make a change.
When I worked at Macy's, loss prevention, right, I was 18 when I got that job, right? I did the security there, and I worked there until I was about 20 years old because I went off to college. There were people that they're working that were like 22, 24. One girl was like 28, 29, making like $10 an hour. This is back in like 2008.
Yeah.
And yeah, what would everybody say? Yeah, I'm gonna get promoted, or yo, I'm gonna go get another job, or yo, I need more money. Like y'all right now, I'm guarantee you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. All of you have a job right now, right, where you have your coworkers and y'all are bitching about how much you get paid. You're gonna bitching about the hours, and you're complaining and saying, yo, well, I'm gonna fucking get out of here. I'm out of this place, etc. And what ends up happening? 5 years later, they're still there.
Yeah.
And you know, and guys, we've worked these kinds of jobs, so we understand what it's like working a low minimum wage job, etc. Working around these people, and everyone's saying, oh, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna get out of here, and they fucking never leave. And the reason why they never leave is because they keep doing the same bullshit that got them there in the first place and keeps them the job.
You know what gets me too is like, oh yeah, bro, why are you staying for overtime? It's like, because I want to save money to invest.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, let's go drink a beer.
Yep.
Nigga, you just said you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
It's not being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, it's the mindset to say, you know what, I'm going to say this, but action-wise, are they going to do it? No.
Yeah. No, man, they end up becoming entrepreneurs, which means trapped in the fucking job that they got, and they'll never actually become an entrepreneur because they never change from what they're doing. And it's amazing to me because these people say this stuff. That's why they call it a dead-end job.
Yeah.
Because people sit there and say, I'm leaving this dead-end job, but they never fucking leave. They never leave because they make just enough, right? It's literally slavery. So what they do is this. They give you just enough money to pay your bills and be what I call comfortable enough, right? Where you're able to pay your bills and just chill. Where you need the job to continue to sustain it, but it's not enough to actually move away. And that's what employers want. They want to give you enough money just so that you could go ahead and continue to live the lifestyle that you currently have and be somewhat comfortable and not give you a cent more. Why? Because if they give you more, if you're smart, you'll invest, you'll move on, you'll do something else. So understand that these companies, guys, a lot of times these big corporations, their interest isn't to actually pay you higher wages so you can live a better life. No, their job is to pay you as little as possible so that you stay.
Yeah.
They obviously are going to give you a livable wage so that you can live, but they're going to give you just enough so that you stay, you don't go anywhere, because their number one thing is if we're going to train you, we're going to pay you, we're going to give you a job, etc. We want you to stay. Retention is very important.
Bro, I did the math. If I stayed there at the same rate of $10 an hour, I would have made it for that year. If I'm going on, $19K a year. That's why I got my
$19,000 a year is poverty, bro.
Terrible. That's why I got a second job at Chick-fil-A. It's like, bro, like I need to way out of this shit, you know. So you gotta have a plan, man.
Yeah,
you gotta have a plan.
So guys, that's step number one, because I know all of you guys right now in the chat know exactly what we're talking about. When you have that job, right? Especially when you're younger, you have these, minimum wage paying jobs or whatever. Everyone is complaining, bro, this job sucks, yo. I'm gonna get out of here.
Lunch break.
Yeah, niggas are complaining about shit, and no one goes anywhere, bro. They all fucking stay there. So don't be that guy. All right, number 2, guys. This is a good one. Get a dry erase board or notepad to write it down, but it must be visible, guys. As someone, as you guys can see here on the pod, who writes things down, I can't even explain to you how important it is to personify your thoughts down on written paper through pen. It's one thing to listen to something, it's another thing to write it down. When you write it down, how do you guys think I'm able to like just make these girls look ridiculous a lot of the times whenever I'm, doing debates or whatever? It's because I write stuff down, and it forces you also, when you write things down, to really comprehend and understand, right? And it keeps things fresh in your head, and when you're actually writing it down, it just makes it way more solid in your head. So writing your goals down, right? Obviously, I'm not telling you how to write shit down when you're debating people. No, I'm just giving you guys an example of the power of the pen. But in general, if you're able to write down your goals, it's going to be instrumental in your long-term success.
Well said.
You can talk about this.
Yeah. So it's funny. We did a call with my network. We spoke about goal setting and having a dry erase board. So there's one right here that actually you had in your actual house.
Yeah, Angie uses it.
This one's actually pretty good. So Angie's really smart. She's saying basically her goals for Myron right here, right? But anyhow, in any case,
it says call companies, pay bills, because Angie helps me with my real estate, right? Obviously, with paying the water bills and electricity and all those other BS, and then because I don't want to deal with that stuff. And then Instacart, which obviously to get the stuff, because as you know, we bring the girls here and stuff, so we got to have like the juices and shit for them and all that stuff. So
yeah, but you want a bigger board than this. You want a board from Target or Walmart that's huge, a rectangular board that's gonna be way bigger.
Yeah.
But in any case, this is the success glitch that people miss all the time, which basically means you're gonna write down your goals, A to Z, right? Short-term and long-term goals. However, you're gonna put it in your room where you can see it whenever you wake up in the morning or when you go to bed at night, because you want to have it fresh in your brain where you're like, okay, right now I have goals to achieve, and looking at every day is like, damn, I didn't do A to B, C, or D. I need to get on that. Now, granted, writing it down doesn't mean it's gonna happen if you don't execute. But if it's in your face, you're like, damn, I can see right now clearly what I need to do. And taking it a step further, if you want to be more visual about it, have pictures of actual goals, for example, of a car you want, a house you want, maybe a job you want, in your room, pictures of it on your wall as well. So imagine having a board with all your goals on it, plus images to highlight those goals in your face every morning. You're either going to do it or sit there and be like, damn, I'm a loser for not doing my goals. So having that in your face every single day is powerful. And when you write it down, guys, it's in your memory. So keep that in mind. Visual and actually writing it down has a lot of power to you as well.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And I think the important thing is, because you had your board, right? Everyone makes fun of you and talks all this shit. You had a video that went super viral. You got like 15 million views or something like that, right, on Instagram?
Yeah.
Before we got taken down. But you guys know the famous clip of him getting denied by Grant Cardone, etc. But after that happened, Fresh put on a board, I'm going to get a Lambo, I'm going to make this much money a month, etc. And he had that board in his room. And I remember when I met him, like I remember seeing that board when I went over there before. And that board, you woke up every day and you saw it, and before you went to bed every night you saw it. So it really, like, it's a reminder, like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Right? And I think to be able to wake up and go to sleep seeing that every day is very powerful from a subconscious standpoint. And I think for a lot of you guys that have goals and got things that you want to do, just putting it in your face every single day is a stark reminder, like, damn, okay, this is what I'm pushing towards, right? And if you fuck up one day or whatever it may be, you could come back and look at that board and be like, damn, did I get closer to the goals on this board, or did I get further? If the answer is I got further, then you got some work to do.
100%. Actually, what happens is when you complete those goals, because I don't know why, whatever don't happen. Bought a property,
Yep.
got the car, did a speech on that platform for FTX trading. Not FTX. What's the other one?
FTX. I was gonna say.
No. What's it called? FX Summit.
I did
that
FX Summit.
speech.
With the Forex traders.
Yeah.
With Q Banks and them.
Yeah. So everything that don't happen in, like, for example, in order, actually, it's crazy. So writing it down is very powerful. And then let's say you do lose track of time, or you lose track of like what you're doing. Okay, let me get back on track, because obviously speaking, my goals are right here in front of me. So let me get back on track.
Yeah.
So it happens.
So writing it down, guys, is very powerful. And then I think also writing it down and where you can see it every single day. Don't just put it on a notebook and just be like put it on a big whiteboard and put that in your room.
Because people say, "Oh, why not just put it on my phone?" Bro, look at your phone, bro. You're not gonna look at it every day.
You ain't gonna open up your Google Notes and be like, "What do I gotta do?" Like that.
It has to be in your face where you can say, "Okay, cool. This is what it is." Oh shit, it's right there.
Yep. And another thing too, which is kind of powerful, other people will see it that know you.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So it's amazing how people get motivated a lot of times to prove others wrong. Like they might not be motivated to do it for themselves, but they'll be motivated to prove others wrong. Hell, even myself. I mean, you guys know when we were going through all that bullshit in 2021 and people were talking all the crap that they were talking, 50 plus YouTube channels talking shit about us. At this point, it's 50 plus, but back then it was like 30 plus.
Yeah.
Talking shit about us, making all these insults or whatever. What did I do? I went and got better cameras. I went and got better equipment. I upgraded the studio, and we came up with new concepts, and we made the show even better to really improve. So naysayers and haters, a lot of the times, what they end up doing is they can spark creativity. They can spark, motivation. And, it is what it is. I mean, hell, this Crimson Chin made some hits on us, right? Talking, oh, well, these guys aren't really leaders of masculinity. I watched that video. I wrote down what I was going to say back to her. I took notes, and we went ahead and executed it and made her look really foolish. Because even though we had some comedic relief in there making fun of her, we also addressed a bunch of her points that she made with factual refuting a lot of the things that she said, because she was incorrect about a bunch of stuff. Whoever went ahead and did research for her didn't know what they were doing.
Her script writer.
Right, her script writer, right? Obviously, we're making jokes, having a good time, etc. We had like 20,000 people watching live on that one between all the platforms, so it was a good time. Mm-hmm. But how were we able to do that? Well, hater, watch it, write it down. Boom, this is the game plan I'm going to do. Obviously, that's on a more micro level, but the point is that writing things down, guys, right, and then having a goal and putting it out there for everybody to see, what'll happen is it'll keep you accountable a lot of times. If you put that fucking whiteboard in your room and your parents here, your friends here, whatever, they're like, oh, these are your goals, then it's going to motivate. Oh, damn, they know my goals too. Shit, I got to do something then.
Now imagine you have a girlfriend or a girl that you're talking to, right? And it's in your house every single day. She'd be like, did you do any of your goals? It looks like the exact same. Like, now you look crazy.
No, nothing crossed off.
Yeah, you look crazy.
The hell's wrong with you?